Hey there, you guys. I just wanted to hop on and talk about a couple of things that have been happening in some conversations that I've been having with my amazing studio owners, business owners inside of the inner circle, as well as clients that I've been speaking to over the course of the last couple of weeks. Now, I know that so many of you are thinking about reopening or in the process of reopening your studios. And I know that a lot of you are trying to work through what that might look like, what you might need to do, and how you're going to be able to safely do so with getting your clients into the studio and being able to operate your business as close to normal as possible. So I wanted just to take you through a few things, a few topics that came up, and we know that this is probably going to be a very gradual process. I know that many of you are going back with some very strict protocols in place around how many people you can have in your studio, around what types of services that you're offering. This is not about throwing open the doors and going back to business as usual. And I think that you might find that you might there will be some clients who are extremely comfortable to come back into the studio, and there will be other clients who are saying, you know what, I want to hold off, I'm just not ready yet. And that's okay. And I think that it might take some time for everyone to be comfortable with this new world, and the likelihood is, and what I'm encouraging my clients to do, is to really optimize their virtual businesses right now, because I think that for the most part the virtual side of your studio is going to be here to stay. And I think that what's been interesting is some of these surveys that I've seen. I know MindBody did a survey actually last month and asked whether or not at the end of quarantine, at the end of lockdown, or shutdown, or shelter in place, or whatever you want to call it, whether or not people would want to continue with those virtual classes. And actually, almost 46% of people said that they would regularly add some sort of live at-home video workouts to their workout routine. So that means that at least half of the people who are on MindBody are really interested to continue with their virtual sessions, which is really, really great. So I would say, I'm encouraging all of my clients, and I encourage you to continue with that virtual service that you provide, the virtual classes, the virtual privates, and however that looks. Now, as you went virtual, you may have changed some of the pricing of your sessions. And it may have been a slightly different pricing structure, right, or pricing model, and a different price point to what you might have charged in the studio. And as you go back, you might be wondering how you can kind of re-navigate that, those perhaps price differences, and how that looks, or how you can bring the packages together, or whether they come together, and whether they're, how they all kind of fit in that pricing puzzle. And I really think that although you thought initially perhaps that when you set up the virtual studio, I know many studio owners felt this way, that they were setting up the virtual studio just sort of as a way to sort of bridge the gap. We now know that this is a very valid and a potentially very reliable revenue stream in the business, and it's now a service that you provide that we should be taking very, 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 very seriously. So as we think about the pricing for your virtual and your in-studio, there definitely has to be some alignment, and they have to sort of talk to each other in some way. But I would potentially revisit what your, how you're structuring your pricing for your virtual, what's included in that, recordings, etc., and how you can incorporate those in-class, in-studio sessions as well. And we're seeing a lot of innovation in the platforms that we can use. There's a lot, as there's evolving almost daily, the things that you can be doing differently to help your virtual studio grow. So as your online offerings sort of evolve, as your virtual studio kind of evolves, the tools you use might evolve as well. Okay, so I would really encourage you to continue to stay up to speed on what those tools look like, and how you can really make the most of what the features may look like. Now, regardless of how you are delivering your virtual classes, one of the things that I wanted to just talk to you about is how you're setting up those virtual classes in your booking system. Now, you might just be tempted to perhaps pop the word virtual in front of the current class name, and pop it on the schedule, and hope that your clients can find the class that they want and what they're looking for. Many studios are potentially looking to host live in studio as well as virtual classes kind of simultaneously. So people are going to the same class, some are in the studio and some are working out at home. And so it's really important that depending on how you price your classes in that scenario, you would want the people from home to access the virtual class and the people coming to the studio to be paying for the in-studio class. And it might sound like a very simple way, very simple to set up, but we want to make sure that it's absolutely crystal clear for your clients, which option they should be choosing. Not only should it be clear for your clients, but you have to be very careful about the way that we set it up in our booking system, because we want to make sure that as we grow and build this new part of our business, this virtual studio revenue stream in our business, that we are able to track the numbers associated with that. So in order for that to happen, if you're using something, for example, like Mind Body, then you're going to want to set that up as a separate service category with its own pricing options. So that when you run all those numbers, you can really dive in and see, how people are using your virtual services, and that will give you some indication as to whether or not you should be making some changes and how your retention looks and all of that good stuff that we love to dive into when we are looking at our KPIs or our key performance indicators. Okay. So back to some pricing stats. So another Mind Body survey question asked consumers to rank from 1 to 10 the most important criteria for selecting a virtual class. And actually, the actual pricing consideration was actually ranked in the lower half. It wasn't as important for the clients. The price point wasn't as important for clients as you might think. But they did indicate that the pricing for the virtual sessions, they preferred it to be to some degree lower than in studio classes. So while they aren't as bothered about the absolute price point, they are looking to it to be slightly lower than what you're charging in the studio. Okay. Now, many studio owners that I'm talking to are taking this opportunity as this shift is happening again in our business in such a short period of time. And many studios are taking this opportunity to make some pricing changes, perhaps changes they've been intending to make for many months or even longer. And a lot of studio owners are looking to perhaps pull together various packages, perhaps looking to streamline their packages and take some away, taking some options off the table. Perhaps some studios are actually even looking to raise their prices. So there's a lot of studio owners are taking this opportunity to actually make some changes inside of their business. And I still am a huge fan of some sort of recurring revenue model for your pricing. I think that as we go into a period of what will likely be some sort of a recession and some very limited economic growth, then a recurring membership model will be beneficial both for our businesses to give some stability to the cash flow, as well as for our clients, in that those price points may seem just a little bit more palatable. Okay, so the other reason why you will want to continue to offer those virtual sessions, and this is something that many studio owners have kind of had to come to terms with, is that with the social distancing requirements that many states have and that we should be following, that you aren't able to really have as many clients in your studio as you had before, which means that the revenue that you're going to be generating from your in-studio operations is going to be much lower. And so, giving your clients the opportunity to work out virtually, continuing to build that business, to promote that business, to invest in that business, will be helpful for you to be able to bridge that gap from an income perspective, from a cash flow perspective. So we want to continue to retain those clients, even if they're not coming into the studio. We want them to be taking those virtual sessions. Okay. Now, we know coronavirus may have really, caused our businesses to, jump into this live stream virtual class world. It might not have been on the radar for so many of you, but, as you come to reopen, it's something that we can continue to capitalize on. We can continue to develop and to be successful inside of our business. So it's really important to think about those pricing strategies, and the way that we set up those classes inside of our systems to help you to access the data that you need to build the business, and to make sure that your pricing points are streamlined and aligned with what you want your clients to do, and in a way that really brings you the cash flow and the stability in the cash flow that you might need to have. If you have any questions about this, then just hop in the comments below and let me know. I'd love to answer any questions you have. And there's also a bunch of tips and other strategies on my site under the 2-minute tip section. So I hope you will pop over there and check out some other goodies and insights as well. Have a great rest of your day.